Alright, our next gem in the Goetia is King Beleth. I'm going to be reading from the Goetia, the Lesser Key of Solomon the King, by McMathers as always. The 13th spirit is called Beleth, or Built. He is a mighty king and terrible.
Wait a minute!
He rideth on a pale horse with trumpets of all other kinds of musical instruments playing before him. He is very furious at his first appearance, that is, while the exorcist layeth his courage. For to do this he must hold a hazel wand in his hand, striking it out towards the south and east quarters, make a triangle without the circle, and then command him into the bounds and charges of spirits as hereinafter followeth.
Are you kidding me?
And if he doth not enter into the triangle at your threats, rehearse the bonds and charms before him, and then he will yield obedience and come into it, and do what he is commanded by the exorcist.
You idiot!
Yet he must receive him courteously, because he is a great king.
What?
And do homage unto him as the king and princess do that attend upon him.
What's wrong with you?
And thou must have a silver ring on the middle finger of the left hand held against thy face, as they do yet before a Mammon. The great King Beleth causeth love of all kinds, that may be, both of men and women, until the master exorcist hath had his desire fulfilled. He is of the order of powers, governs 85 legions of spirits, and his seal is right there at the top right. But anyway, or the summoner is fearless, then Beleth will gain respect for him. But if there's any ounce of fear, Beleth will lose respect towards that individual. The magician must protect himself with a silver ring on the middle finger of the left hand, and hold it up to the face as such. If Beleth refuses to cooperate, the magician must proceed with his commands.
Wait a minute!
Oh boy, I have a big problem with this entry for this Goetic Divine. I have a huge problem with it. First one. If he's very angry when summoned, it should not matter. Because if you remember the first video I did in this series, you should remember me saying that know your foundation, know what you'll accept and not accept. If you summon any of these entities, and if you're being hospitable, polite, considerate, if you are acting towards them that way, you deserve to have the same thing back. If a spirit comes towards you and throws a hissy fit, call it out and say, no, this is my space, I invited you here, so please be hospitable and be mindful. If this can't be done, if you cannot do this right now, then we are free to end this and you're free to go if you'd like. And be firm about it. Because in this kind of a situation, if he's known to be one that is aggressive, it don't matter. Speak your truth, hold your ground. If he's not going to comply, then he's free to go. But don't get a hazel wand, don't get any kind of tool and point it in a direction and then command him to go into a triangle, a shape of any kind. No, don't do that. Because that's going to make him agitated even more. Don't do it. And the ring on the middle finger of the left hand, if you would like to do that, you can. Though in this kind of a predicament, if you're able to hold your ground and keep yourself grounded and hold yourself and think, no. If he's going to be not acting well in this first appearance, he can go, we can try again next time. And you have to be adamant with it. No ifs, ands, buts, or tushies. Doesn't matter if he's getting very hostile and in your face and making you be extremely uncomfortable and getting paranoia. Nope. End it right there. If you're going to respect their space and be mindful towards them, they have to give it back to you. That's not an option. It has to be done. Point blank. Because if you're being respectful towards them, they can give it back to you. But if you're being disrespectful to them, they'll turn it right back onto you. But you have to, especially with King Beleth, you have to keep your ground. And let him know that no. I'm treating you as a king. I expect the same back to you, or at least being treated as other in a respectful way. Moving on. When you're not able to hold your ground and if you're showing kind of fear towards King Beleth, he may not actually respect your effort. So you have to make sure you nail it first on the first time, like, no. If you're upset, well then I apologize for summoning you, but my king, please. I want to build a connection with you. May we please do so? No? Then you're free to go, if you like. Simple. And if the magician is trying to have Beleth comply, and if you refuse to cooperate, don't give yourself up. Like how it says right here. If Beleth refuses to cooperate, the magician must proceed with his commands. Must proceed? No. No. I don't think so, no. If an entity is not complying with you, and yet you invited them in here to try and build a connection with them, you're not going to submit to anything that you called your space. I don't care who it is. If you're reaching out to an entity to build a connection, you're not going to be surrendering yourself, saying, I couldn't have you be respectful towards me, I quit. No. No. Don't give up your right to yourself and your sense of dignity to something that doesn't want to cooperate. Hold your ground and keep it firm. Don't matter what it says or what it does. But now, however, though, if you were to gain King Beleth's respect, he'll be able to assist you in any kind of love or any kind of lustful means imaginable for male, female, love of any kind. It does not matter. Because love is the same thing. Love is love regardless of the gender. It's attraction. Nonetheless. And also, the summoner, or the one with the connection with King Beleth, the person can choose to let King Beleth end it until the desire is fulfilled. Once it's fulfilled, the summoner can end it right then and there with Beleth or the intent that was originally put out. Nonetheless. So, really, King Beleth, at least based on his entry, is kind of a little bit downing. And I haven't interacted with King Beleth before, but nonetheless, I wouldn't command him into a triangle. I wouldn't point a stick at the triangle and say, hey, go stand in that. No. No. That's not, no, don't do that. Don't command him. Don't demand him. Be mindful, but also stand your ground and let it be known that, my king, I summoned you here today because I wanted to build a connection with you. If that's something you don't want, then you are free to go. You are dismissed, and we are finished here tonight. Maybe we'll try again next time, but if you're not going to comply, if you're not feeling in the mood for it, you're free to leave. Now it's up to him. It's simple. Just don't be going towards it as the way as it's written. Because, like what I mentioned before, this is somebody else's experience and not yours. How do you know King Beleth is going to come towards you all agitated? I don't know. He might come towards you and be the absolutely most positive, supportive, attentive, and actually very ecstatic spirit. He might. I don't know. You don't know. You never know. It all depends on each individual person. So, until you've actually experienced him, can't really say much. And I can't really say much either. But the same thing that I can say is what's going to keep you safe and prioritize you, always. But also being mindful towards whomever you summon. So really, anything love-related, King Beleth can assist you with that. And in the Tarot Goetia in Darkness, He is the Five of Wands card, and it is Sun and Gemini. There he is up there at the top, and then you see some burned man blowing horns. So, the Sun in Gemini is actually the soul, the ego, the sense of fulfillment comes from building connections, like connecting to another. Because Gemini is the sign of a man figure and a woman figure pointing at one another, pointing at each other, and their fingertips touching one another. So there's this sense of fulfillment with connection. King Beleth actually does help in all love matters, so there's that. And the Five of Wands, well, the Five of Wands is a card usually seen as a card of conflict, a lot of combative things going on. So in a way, it can make sense in going with the Sun in Gemini and with King Beleth. But in this kind of depiction, it's not the really same thing that I'm getting, but I can definitely see where the wands come in, because each person, there's a total of 5 of them. So that part I can kind of see going with this depiction. So King Beleth is really not much to say about him. Just more like, use your head, be courteous, don't be dim-witted, don't be out of line, don't be, inconsiderate and rude, but stand your ground. Because if you don't, he may not respect you or may not come towards you again in a positive way afterwards. So that's King Beleth. So we'll now see who our next Gemini Goetia will be. Prince Sitri. And he happens to be my card in this deck, the Queen of Cups. So, Prince Sitri will be our next one.